What's up, everybody? Welcome to IGN Game Scoop. I'm your host, Damon Hatfield. Joining me this week, Justin Davis,
Scoop.
Marty Sleva,
Great.
Brian Altano.
Rap.
We've got a great show for you this week. We're going to talk about Sonic the Hedgehog.
Yeah.
Oh, I have some thoughts on that guy.
Oh, yeah.
Are you wearing a Ghost and Goblin shirt?
This is one of my
This is really
hot
nice,
new
man.
pickups.
I'm a big fan of this one.
If you're just listening to the show, you can't see my hot Ghosts and Goblins shirt. But if you go to the Game Scoop YouTube channel, youtube.com/GameScoop, you can see it.
And subscribe,
But first,
Subscribe.
please.
But first, that Nintendo NX. Rumors say,
Credible rumors.
multiple credible rumors say it is a high-powered handheld, which can also plug into your TV with a docking station. Features 2 detachable controllers on the side. It will use cartridges, and even though it's a high-powered handheld, it is less powerful than current-gen hardware.
Yeah, somewhere in between the Wii U and like the Xbox One.
PS4, yeah.
Yeah. Mhm.
But then we imagine significantly less power than the Scorpio and
Yeah.
PlayStation Neo.
Yep.
So, if this all turns out to be true, what do we think?
It's interesting. We actually have, how does time work? By the time people see this, we'll have Jose and Andrew and me sort of workshopped.
Oh, the feature's actually live.
Yeah, what could go right or what could go wrong with the NX. And Jose had just the best point that I'd never considered, which is that if you make a handheld and home console hybrid, you don't have to make it, like Nintendo doesn't have to make a choice of where is the next Mario Kart going to be.
Yeah.
You know, the gap between Mario Kart on the Wii and Mario Kart on the Wii U was something like 6 years between home Mario Karts, because they had to have 7 in between there. They had to have a Mario Kart on the 3DS, but now it's just one thing. Like, they had to release Smash on the 3DS and the Wii U, and that was
Yeah.
kind of awkward and strange, although they weren't quite the same. The stages were different, but the same, core game.
Sure. Mario Kart 7 is a handheld game?
Yeah.
Yeah, you
Just
got
like-
Mario 3D Land on
Yeah.
one,
Yeah.
and 3D World on the other.
And
Everything
people have
is a
been
handheld game,
clamoring
yeah.
for like a home console Pokemon RPG, and
Yep.
what if it's all just one thing? Like,
Yeah.
you can have Pokemon on your TV or Fire Emblem or Animal Crossing, and then you still have it on the go. So the ability that, every 2 or 3 years we get a big drop in all of Nintendo's big franchises, and then it's both a portable and a console game. I have real problems with the NX, but that part of it I think is dope.
Yeah, I think that part's really cool. I'm very worried about the idea of detachable controllers.
Why does that worry you?
I just, fundamentally, what product do we have in our house that sort of does that, especially a gaming product? Like, what do we have that, nothing on the Xbox or PS4 are snapping apart. I just logistically, I'm trying to think of, is this going to look good? Is this going to be easy to carry around? I'm not going to be able to have this in my pocket, so...
Yeah, will it pass the test of, is someone willing to use this thing on the train or
what's
on
the
bus?
battery life going to be like? What's the
Right.
battery life on a handheld that can display, almost PS4 caliber visuals?
Yeah.
Not good.
Yeah.
Is what it is. It's not good. But does that matter? I think that's the main issue. For people nowadays, I think that if I take it on a flight, I have an external battery pack for basically anything. I'm flying to Germany in 3 weeks. So are you, Damon. That's a long ass flight.
Yeah.
Straight up is. So I bring multiple chargers. I have my Kindle, I have my Vita, my 3DS, I have all my toys. If I have Zelda there on the NX, that's awesome. If the battery life's 3 hours, there's an outlet on the seat I can plug into, that's fine. If you're a kid in the backseat of a car or you're going on a train in the morning, that's probably going to be okay 2 or 3 hours, right? But I think just having that, just knowing a 2-hour battery life is going to be kind of scary. Secondly, I'm worried about the screen.
Yeah.
The screen is historically something Nintendo has never done well. The resolution on 3DS is bad. The output on the Wii U is not a good looking screen. The reds specifically get washed
gamepad,
out.
you mean?
Yeah, on the
I
gamepad.
like well, whatever. I like the gamepad screen, but I'm with you on the 3DS.
It's good, but if you take a look at the reds on, they get blown out.
If you compare it to a Vita.
Yeah. Which
A
is
large Vita.
compared to
Yeah.
the OLED
That's true.
Yeah.
or your iPhone screen or something like that. There's also multi-touch has never been a thing before, and I don't know if they're going to abandon touch entirely, but the idea of having a screen that either has a single touch or no touch at all is not going to gel well with anybody in 2016, because the second you grab that thing, the first thing you're going to start doing is tapping at it, and if that doesn't respond, there's kind of a problem.
Yeah.
So that's their balance of being we're making a toy for everyone, and we're making a cool thing for hardcore gamers, right? And I think Zelda is for hardcore gamers. The NX might be a toy for everyone. So finding that between that balance of quality and good construction and durability and price that's their main dilemma right now.
Yeah, and ultimately, like any Nintendo console for me just boils down to the software. Like,
Yeah.
I wasn't crazy about the Wii as a piece of hardware. I'm not crazy about the Wii U, but I'm still glad I owned them because I got to play Mario Galaxy, and
Yep.
Mario 3D World, and Bayonetta 2, and Wonderful 101, and stuff like that.
Yeah. I mean, I'm personally not concerned about the power level. I mean, it's disappointing, but it's not a surprise. I mean, we're never going to see Nintendo competing on power again. Like, those days are just over.
Well, we had heard rumors that they were this time.
Yeah.
That-
But I think Zelda Wii U is gorgeous. Like, it's a beautiful game, without an asterisk, without anything. It's just
And
beautiful.
we've seen
Like,
it running on Wii U. We haven't seen it running on.
I think they said it's going to look identical. I might have made that up.
That would bum me out. I think they said it would have identical features, like there wouldn't be any gameplay specific elements.
Either way, like whether it looks better or not, like it's a gorgeous game on Wii U.
Yes.
Like Nintendo is in the HD era, and for me personally, that's enough. And I can respect and appreciate people that want to see something that looks like Witcher 3 or just the most gorgeous games on the market from Nintendo. But I don't care about that. To me, they've reached a level of good enough graphics, and I'm like, all right,
I like this like sort of docking station idea. I think that's pretty novel. I mean, we've seen it with iPhones, obviously, and even tablets for a very long time. Like, I like the idea of going home and I take my iPhone out of my pocket and I plug it into a stand, and now I'm listening to Spotify wirelessly through my sound bar. I like the idea of playing Zelda on the train and then bringing it home and putting it there. Although I personally wouldn't, because I live in San Francisco, which is the kind of city where someone will snatch something like that out of your hand. So if you have a $300, $400 handheld, you can be a little careful about it.
I mean, it depends on. We really just don't know. Like, is this thing an iPhone or an iPad? Like, what are we talking about here?
Yeah.
Like,
What is the size of it going to be? Yeah.
Like, is it a gamepad or is it a 3DS?
Right.
Yeah,
Like-
and we should say these were credible rumors from Eurogamer.
Right.
Which
Yeah.
and
Well, we
it
didn't-
matches,
We've been able to. It's matches things that we've heard.
matches a
Yeah.
lot of things we've heard. Yeah, Eurogamer is short for the European gamer.
Yeah.
if
Or
it has a-
Eurogamer, as they call it.
Gross.
If it has a snap-on controller, I don't know. I guess it really depends on how. Like, we're presuming that the NX, like the Wii U, will have dual analog controls, buttons, shoulder buttons. So how does that translate to a handheld? Like, if Zelda Wii U is playable in handheld form, does that mean the controller has to have all those same buttons on it?
Yes.
Like, that's weird, right?
It's a lot of buttons for a handheld. I mean, having played Zelda Wii U, I think we all have at this point. There's just a lot. There's a lot going on. There's a lot to interact with.
I played it for the first time at Comic-Con over the weekend, and it is the most, I think, complexly controlled Zelda, just because there's more you can do.
Yeah.
Like, I hit a button, and I thought I was going to pull out my sword, and I just threw my sword. And I didn't have a sword, and I was like, oh,
Yeah,
crap.
I mean, that said, I think there's solutions for it. I have this like it's this like fake mini NES controller that's like Bluetooth that you hook up for like retro games. It's got 2 shoulder buttons on it side by side. It's got 4 face buttons and 2 joysticks down here, and a start and select and a D-pad. So you're like, that's pretty much everything that anyone would need nowadays. I don't know if those would be
glommed
analog.
onto a screen.
Well, that's the other thing,
Right.
right? Like cutting it in half and putting it in the middle of something. So my big concern about all this, first of all, I want to get the really positive thing out of the way. I'm ecstatic that we're getting another handheld.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like, I thought, honestly, that 3DS would be the end of the handheld line. Nintendo just posted losses today. The Vita tanked. The handheld
New
gaming.
3DS has had one exclusive game,
Yeah.
and then
Exactly.
Super Nintendo games.
That being said, there's nothing we've heard about this being a dual screen handheld, which means the end of the 3DS line. It also means the end of dual screen gaming. It means that you can't automatically port all the stuff that they're doing. I would like for this to be this catch-all for everything Nintendo's been doing in the last few years. Here's the 3DS games you missed. Here's the Wii U games you missed. Here's brand new NX stuff. Here's our brand new handheld offerings, all in one place. If there's only one screen, that cuts a bunch of games in half. So, yeah. There's a lot to unpack here.
Yeah.
There is, it's on a case-by-case basis, a game-by-game basis, but a lot of really good DS games have been ported to mobile, like the World Ends With You. I would have never guessed could work on a single screen because the whole thing was about the split perspective, but that worked. So, I mean, maybe some of their biggest stuff,
Yeah,
they
the new
could find a way to
Layton's
make
going
it
mobile.
work.
Yeah.
Yeah. On a basic level, I like the idea of a hybrid console that's both a handheld and you can play it on your TV.
Yeah.
And in terms of power, there are beautiful Wii U games. If this system is halfway between a Wii U and a PS4, that sounds like more than enough power for a handheld.
Yes.
Like, that'll be the
Yeah.
most beautiful looking handheld system
Totally.
ever. it remains to be seen how it looks on TV.
Yeah, and also like I think a much bigger concern is that Nintendo needs to get their online infrastructure and your player accounts. They need to get that all sorted out. Like it needs to be easy for me to be like, hey, I bought Mario digitally. This is mine forever.
Well, they
like,
just
you
said
need to stop. You need to stop.
Well,
doing this.
part of this rumor was that it won't be backwards compatible, right?
God,
because
why?
So, which means that I bought most of my Wii U games digitally, which is cool.
Yeah.
Will this remember that?
Yeah.
No.
Like, who knows, right?
Yeah.
The other thing is, like, back to what you were saying about the power, Nintendo, we know, can get the most out of their consoles. Breath of the Wild looks gorgeous. Mario Kart 8 is one of the prettiest games of the generation. No question there. Splatoon even is just like fun and colorful. Nintendo can't carry this thing on their own. And with an underpowered console, they're missing third parties, and they're missing... They're missing just like it's harder to sort of drag and drop an HD next gen game onto a system like this.
They're fine with third parties because Just Dance has been confirmed for the NX, and Little Sonic 3D Pals has been confirmed for the NX.
So I think we're going to be okay.
Yeah, that was a big question I was wondering is, the third parties are dug in deep on PS4 and Xbox One. Are they interested in creating games now for this new handheld?
Is Assassin's Creed Egypt, assuming that comes out late next year, is that going to be on this thing? Is the Call of Duty next year going to be on this thing? Is Star Wars Battlefront 2 going to be on this thing?
But like
Mass Effect, I mean,
every good like XBLA PSN game would presumably be awesome on it though.
Yes,
Playing inside on the NX,
that'd
like
be amazing.
portably,
That'd be really cool. But I mean, will Battlefront on last gen hardware compromise the vision of the team making Battlefront? Will Assassin's Creed have less characters on screen and worse draw distance? Like, we're back into this cycle again of like Dead Rising, chop till you drop kind of bullshit. Where it's like,
I mean, it is kind of a deal breaker. Like I said, that the underpowered console is fine for me personally, which is true, except that if you look at all the big games coming out this fall, none of them would be appropriate for the console that Nintendo's just outlined. Almost,
and especially now it becomes more complicated for developers because you're developing for PC for this upper stratosphere of the consoles with Neo and Scorpio, for the consoles that we all own with the Xbox One and PS4, and then for whatever the NX is. And like, that's just
the reality
very
is
complicated.
Third parties and publishers and developers go where the money is. And they go where the install base is. They're not going to just like roll the dice on the NX unless there's projections that say that this thing's going to do well enough that it's worth.
Well, especially by the time the NX comes out, the PS4 is probably going to have like a 60 million install.
Yeah.
There is a chance, I don't know what the odds are, I'm not an odds maker, but if there's some Wii Sports type experience on the NX that justifies you taking this thing on the go, like Pokemon Go.
I mean,
right?
if it's Pokemon Go Plus, or if it's like some Pokemon Go,
like Pokemon Go is the model. Like, give people a reason, just like the Wii gave people a reason to care about motion controls. Give people a reason to take this thing out of its dock and take it with you and put it back and give you some gaming experience. Like, I can't even describe it in more detail because I don't know what it is.
Right.
I mean, but if they can make that case with a piece of software,
I really love the idea that a game does different things on the go than it does docked. I love the idea that Pokemon Go is you're out catching Pokemon out in the wild with your handheld, and then when you get home, that's where you go to the gyms and that's where you play sort of like a campaign.
So that I like too, because to piggyback off that, like, it's incentivizing not only going out in the wild, but also bringing it back home and putting it back in the dock.
I mean, they did it. There is a precedent for this. They did it with Street Pass on the 3DS, where you would get close to people and trade puzzle pieces and stuff, and it also tracked your steps, and the steps earned you coins that you could use to buy things in games. And so, you take the console with you on the go, and you go to the mall or go whatever, and then you come back and you have more stuff for your Animal Crossing town or whatever. And you don't get that if you just leave the console docked. Like, maybe that's the vision for the console. Like,
now I got an idea for all sorts of dumb stuff.
Yeah,
like the new Mario game is 2D if it's on the go. It's 3D when you hook it up to your TV.
Well, that's just insane. What are you talking about? Is that your list?
No, this is just an entire vodka.
This
I mean,
this console's going to be a disaster.
Breath of the Wild is overhead when you're taking it on the go.
I like the idea that it really emphasizing steps and location. And take it with you. Make a circuit. Then when you come back home.
Also, are you gonna need a data plan on this? Is this gonna sync up to your phone's data plan? Like, what am I doing?
I mean,
that's a big question. That's a really big question.
Free on Kindle, but it's not free on like a lot
What's
of other.
free on Kindle?
Like you can access
the Pokemon Go.
No, Kindle.
Like you can download books for free.
Yeah.
Through
so you can
cellular service?
Yes, without a cellular plan. You don't need a cellular plan for your Kindle to connect to cellular.
You can't like go on the internet or like porn off or anything.
I think certain websites like News.
See, that leads me to the other big question mark is your average Jane or John Doe out there who's just
they're dead.
Who's that? I was just using that as a.
John Doe is the name of a dead body that you can't
I thought that was like a
identify.
generic person. Can I just not be a generic
John
person?
Does not have to be dead.
Yeah.
Yes,
Hold
they
on,
do.
I
Jane
didn't
Doe and
know.
John Does are dead.
We might be on. We
dead.
might be onto something here. There are way more dead people than living people. This is an install base. This is a blue ocean for Nintendo. This has actually never been tapped before.
All right, don't get hung up on the Jane and John Doe. Your average person, I'm just saying, look, what's it going to take for them to stop playing Candy Crush, Game of War, whatever free-to-play game they're playing on their mobile phone that they already have, spend a couple $100s on a new dedicated handheld device.
Yep, that's exactly it.
Pokemon Go becomes an NX exclusive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just deletes from your phone.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but I mean some sort of Pokemon Go Plus. Right,
Yeah.
where it's the same game when you're on the go, then you come home and all the Pokemon you've gathered can battle and have a campaign and
In
go
like a
on
nice 3D
adventures.
mode. Yeah. Oh, adventures. Sounds nice.
All right, lots
Fight Team Rocket.
of questions, but I want to say again, on a basic level, I like the idea of
Me too.
what we're hearing.
I was going to ask you guys very quickly. Do you all play handheld games?
Well, it's just there aren't that many anymore, but
Yeah.
I like to.
Yeah.
But where
I
do
wish there
you
were more.
predominantly play them?
3DS.
Yeah, but like when?
On the couch.
On your
on
couch
the
at
go,
home?
not at home.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, because I predominantly just like curl up on the
Planes.
couch
Yeah,
and
me
just
too.
play like that while like my wife is watching a movie on the TV or something like
No,
that.
everybody does. Like the
Yeah.
research, that's not just anecdotal. Like the vast majority of handheld gaming is done at home.
Yeah, so I'm cool with this thing either way.
So I guess I'm a unique and beautiful snowflake.
You are.
We already knew that.
Next up was an email from Ryan Krosky. He emailed us at gamescoop@ign.com, just like you, Kim. And he wants to know, he wonders if Nintendo is listening to its fans. He says, first off, I've been listening to Scoop for several years. Thanks for all the hours of entertainment.
Oh, you're welcome.
I have a simple question. Why does Nintendo refuse to listen to what its fans want? Most people want an HD console with online gaming, third-party support, and amazing exclusives. Nintendo is really trying to monetize. Oh, that's my little. That was my little commentary. Now, I think this is anecdotal. He's anecdotally saying this is what most people want. I don't know if that's true or not.
I mean, yeah, everyone, like, because the internet, everyone wants something different.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think Nintendo's job is to figure out how to sell you something you didn't know you wanted.
Yes.
I mean, yeah. I mean, what people want is the PlayStation 4, but instead of Sony on the side, it says Nintendo.
Yeah. And it's like,
Well,
I already
yeah,
have an Xbox One, I have a PS4, I have a
But those games
computer.
don't have, for lack of a better word, the Nintendo magic.
Yes.
Or the
Right.
consoles don't.
Yeah, but I mean, if Nintendo listened to what fans wanted on a Super Nintendo, it would have been a more powerful Super Nintendo as opposed to redefining video games and taking them to 3D and redefining control in a 3D space. If Nintendo had listened to fans after the GameCube, they would have wanted something that was just like a PS2 or an Xbox, but instead they went with the Wii, which is one of the biggest pieces of entertainment software hardware of all
Yeah.
time.
Same with the DS and the 3DS. They could have easily just continued to make prettier Game Boys.
And like, yes, they swing for the fences and fences that we don't even know exist.
Yep.
And yeah, a lot of times it's a dud. It's like, listen, we didn't want the Virtual Boy.
That old baseball term, the
That
dud. He's had 4 duds this inning.
Babe Ruth is on a bad dud streak.
I'm not a big baseball fan. It may be a big baseball term. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I look at my entertainment center right now. There's a PS3, there's a PS4, there's an Xbox One, and there's a Wii U.
Get that PS3 out of there.
No, keep
I
it
don't
there,
know why
man.
it's still there. You know, every now and then.
Anyway.
And most of those consoles are incredibly similar things. You know, I'm not going to say the Wii U is such a revolutionary thing because honestly, I think that's one of their big problems this generation is that they made a rather iterative console. Like it's not.
Well, it has the gamepad.
It's got the gamepad, which
Yeah.
is cool. You know, and I do like playing off-screen games with it. But for the most part, like, how many of the same thing do you want? You know, do you want 3 HD consoles with the same third-party games and some exclusives? Because I don't. Like, I want one that's a little different and does weird
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing with the PS4 and the Xbox One is the main difference, the only difference that matters to me is one has Uncharted and Bloodborne and Ratchet, and the other has Sunset Overdrive and Halo and Gears.
The dream might be, if they left them alone, would be for Sony and Nintendo to just join.
Yeah.
Like it's the Nintendo PlayStation.
We've had those theories before.
And I know, like, I've been on this show before, being like, just make a HD box with good online. Just do that.
Yeah.
And I do want them to do that. I want them to revolutionize something along the outset of all of that, but make the base console sort of have the same parity as the other ones. So there's not like we don't have to play Assassin's Creed with only 4 people in it, you know, or
I mean, it's just the problem with competing on power. I mean, the real reason why Nintendo doesn't do it is because it can't do it. You know, Microsoft is one of the most valuable companies on earth. Their operating system is in 80-some% of computers, and they make billions and billions of dollars off Windows and Microsoft Office and hardware and software, you know, and Sony is, I mean, PlayStation's a much bigger portion of their business than it used to be, but they still make television. They're a consumer electronics company. Like, this is all Nintendo does. Like, they're a much, much, much smaller company than Sony and Microsoft. They can't compete on power.
no.
They'll never be able to. So that's why they have to do something different every generation.
Well, it also seems like they're really starting to realize they have these older fans, right? So like their NX is a handheld that uses cartridges. They just unveiled the NES Mini, which we got to see at Comic-Con.
Yeah.
And then this week they just announced the official NES book, Playing with Power.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it does seem like they're definitely trying to monetize the nostalgia of their older fans.
Smart.
Which is like,
Yeah.
I was
finally.
even theorizing the other day that if the NX cartridges looked like old NES cartridges, but
Yeah.
extremely tiny,
Yeah.
that's cool. It's just a cool little play. If you look at the marketing around the NES Classic, there's a red bar on top that says Classics line.
Yeah.
Which means that like they're possibly launching a new brand, and I don't know what's going to fall
They're
under that
softening up the
umbrella.
ground for that at least.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they're in this interesting spot where Nintendo is 80s kids and 6-year-olds. Like,
Yeah.
that's who Nintendo is now.
They call them the 86s.
Yep.
But
Together at last,
Not allowed in
children and
bars.
old men.
yeah, I would love for them to, you know, like just all Sony games and all Nintendo games are now only on PlayStation, and Sony leaves Nintendo alone to continue making their incredible software experiences.
Yeah.
That'd be great.
Well, I think one of the big problems
It'd
was
kinda be sad, too.
there were kids in their late teens, early 20s that were trying to get into Nintendo, and they wanted to Twitch stream and YouTube and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Nintendo made that incredibly difficult for them to do. You know, they're like, get off my lawn, or like, pay us if you want to do that. And
Yeah.
that's difficult.
Yeah, it's insane.
Yeah.
What do you think about that book, Playing with Power?
Oh, I pre-ordered it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it
looks
looks gorgeous. It was on
really cool.
on Amazon for like $24.99 instead of like $45 or something the other day.
Yeah, deep
So-
dives on 17 big NES games
Yeah.
with excerpts from their Nintendo Power articles
Yeah.
and their
Super cool.
so
big
cool.
world maps.
Yeah.
Yep.
The book itself looks like a giant NES cartridge. I'm
Yeah.
totally
The
into
slip
that.
cover is great.
Yeah.
It's very cool. All right, well, continuing down our nostalgic path this week, 2 new Sonic the Hedgehog games were announced over the weekend at Comic-Con. First up is Sonic Mania, a new 2D platformer with the core classic Sonic gameplay. PS4, Xbox One, and PC spring of next year, and it is reimagined areas from Sonic's 1, 2, 3, CD, and Knuckles, I think.
That I missed. I thought it was
Yeah.
just an all-new game.
No,
it's-
reimagined levels.
Yeah, it's sort of going to be
Remixes
like you're going
of
through
levels.
Green Hill Zone from
Oh.
Sonic 2, and you're like, this is familiar, and then all of a sudden there's a boss at the end that's different or pulled from Knuckles, or
something like
like
that.
they're sort of stitching. It's like a mixtape.
Yeah, plus new levels.
Yeah.
Weird.
Yeah, the 2D one's far more interesting to me. The broody, grimdark, save the world other one, like it reeks of Werehog, and I'm not.
I mean,
into
the
it.
trailer looked great. Like it
Yeah.
felt like the music was great and the graphics were great. Just the mix of old and new. When I saw Sonic Mania, I thought to myself, we might finally have a second good Sonic game.
Yeah, so there was a good...
Was there a first?
Yeah, was there a first?
Sonic CD.
Next Sonic CD.
It's fine.
Yeah.
I thought you would say Dr. Robotnik's Mean Bean Machine.
Oh, no.
That one's good. That's a legitimately good game.
I loved starring as the player in that game.
So people seemed excited about this Sonic Mania announcement.
Yeah.
But I don't know. People seem to have forgotten that not too long ago there was Sonic the Hedgehog 4.
Yep.
It was released episodically.
Had 2 episodes.
Yeah, and I think it was pretty
Yeah.
mediocre.
There was also Sonic Generations, which was predominantly 2D, had some 3D stuff in it, but like, I think we're okay. I think we're at the
Real
point
talk.
where we need to admit that this was never really a great franchise,
Nope.
and that
See-
we keep trying to find this thing that was never really actually there.
Sonic was never good.
Yeah,
It's
it was,
a
well, it was like
25-year lie.
Yes.
it was like they re-released like Ecto Cooler this year, and we're like, hell yeah, it brings me back to middle school. And I went and I drank it, and I'm like, this is not that great. And I was like, maybe it never was that great. Maybe it's just green water.
I don't know. I don't really understand why, but there is a segment of the gaming community that really, really loves Sonic.
Sonic
Yes.
was never good. If you disagree, you can call the cops.
Also,
Yeah.
the reason is they all want to have sex with Big the Cat.
That's true.
That is still the reason.
No, look,
I
I
said
think-
it an hour ago. I'll say it again.
I think when you're a kid, Sonic is awesome. right? Because especially back then, he's fast.
Yeah.
The characters are cool. The level designs are really cool. It's a lot grittier than
Music's
Super Mario
great.
World. And the music's great. And you get about halfway through that game, and then you realize it's actually very cumbersome and tedious, and it's not very well laid out.
It's trial and error.
It's very trial and error.
Yeah.
And then you just kind of like you put up with it when you're a child because you don't think of. You don't really know there's a whole nother world out there.
Well, when people picture Sonic, they're picturing Green Hill Zone. And
Yeah.
You're zipping around and going over loops, and in Sonic 3, there's a big ship, and it's
Yeah.
awesome. And they're forgetting the back half of the game that's like very tedious and boring.
And the
spikes
terrible
again.
boss fights and the spikes, the
Yeah.
bottomless pits.
Once you get to, I
the
believe
drowning music that I
even like Casino Zone, which is like a cool idea for a level, is mostly just like terrible pinball.
Well,
tedium.
that's what Casino Zone is like Vegas, where it's like a cool idea in theory for a
Yeah.
place, and then you get there, and after an hour, you're like, "What the hell am I doing? Let me leave."
Yep. Yep.
And
Exactly.
you're trapped.
Yeah, you
So
just reek
I-
of smoke, and you don't know where outside is.
I feel bad for Sega because Sonic is their number one is their biggest franchise ever, and they've been chasing this ghost for decades now. And
Well, yeah, it is fascinating. I've talked about this book before, Console Wars
Yeah.
show. It's incredible, required reading for anyone who loves video games. But yeah, when they introduced Sonic in like 1990, circa 1990, 91, it totally worked for Sega and pushed them ahead of Nintendo in the
Yeah.
16-bit console wars. Like, there is something there to it
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
people latched onto.
yeah.
I don't understand what it is.
Yeah.
personally.
I think the difference was within 5 or 6 years of the release of those games. And Sonic 1 is a non-issue. It's a terrible game. Sonic 2, I think, and Sonic and Knuckles have redeemable aspects. Within 5 years of those games, you could play Sonic 2 and you could play Super Mario World in the same afternoon, and you realize which one aged better. And you fast forward to now, 20-something, 30, whatever, how long it's been.
Yeah.
Super Mario has just aged better. Like it just
yeah,
always has.
for sure.
And many retro games have. It just never was that great. We're gonna get a lot of hate.
The other,
No.
the other one, the other new Sonic game is something new, 3D, coming holiday 2017
Yes.
to PS4, Xbox One, PC, and Nintendo NX.
Yeah, it's funny too. At the end of the trailer, they have a little NX logo that's just like an N and an X in a font that I'm pretty sure Sega created.
Oh, they did, yeah, for sure. It's funny because I'd never. First of all, the NX logo that Sega made is better than the PC logo that we've been using for 30 years now.
Is this a sign that Nintendo's waited too long to lift the lid on
Yeah.
the NX?
Yeah.
Like companies are forced to go out with their
Yeah, I
announcements
believe
and
the
make
rumor.
up
The rumor
logos.
now
crazy.
is that September
Yeah.
is going
Yeah,
to be the
because
reveal.
that won't even be the final.
I mean,
name
that
of the
console's
console.
coming out in like 6 months.
Yeah.
Yeah, it can't be called the NX. It'll be called the Nintendo, and then someone like the Nintendo X going to give.
Maybe
it to
they'll
you.
finally do what we've been saying and they'll just call it the Nintendo.
That would be really nice.
I like that a lot.
And that would also jive
What?
with them having just one console.
What out of touch
moving
parents have been calling it all
Yeah.
this whole time.
Yeah.
The Nintendo.
Well, I mean, it worked for iPad, right? They just call it the iPad.
Yeah, they eventually wised up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but this Sonic game, the 3D one, we just got like a CG trailer, and it has new Attitude Sonic that has sex with the cat, and then it has
there's
old.
two of 'em.
Yeah, and then it has old like chubby '90s Sonic running alongside of them. And they're both trying to go go on a
Fast.
date with a human or something.
Yeah,
I
something
don't know.
weird. Something. It's all sexual.
I think this brings the grand total of confirmed NX games to 3.
Nice.
Oh, really?
Breath of the Wild,
Yeah.
Just Dance,
Yep.
and this new
We did
Sonic
it.
game.
You did the German 3.
Ever since Inglourious Bastards, I
Yeah.
do the German 3. When we're in Cologne, you're not giving me tell me apart from all the other Germans.
Because he's been doing a German 3.
Is that what that is?
But
The
he
1, 2,
knows
3?
you.
Yeah, that's from Inglourious Bastards. That's
Spy.
why they'll.
Oh, that's right. This is like a Ninja Turtles.
Because they
hand.
count 1, 2, 3. It's a bizarro world. All right.
What is that? Is cat
I was doing
claws?
like a weird little clause. Like,
That's not what the
Ah.
turtles do. Don't stop that.
Our 20 question suggestion this week comes from our friend Carter. But first, he also has a question.
whoa, double dip.
21
Got
questions.
his question, and then we're going to get to 20 questions.
All right.
So he says, "Hey Damon and everyone.
Hi.
I've been listening to Scoop since the week before the release of PlayStation 3 in 2006.
It's a long
moly.
time.
10 years of scoops.
It's longer than me.
I did that math for you, so you don't have to.
I remember everyone making fun of Micah's beard and Hillary pretending that the red rings of death might not be much of a problem until it was obvious that they very much were. I remember all the fan versions of the theme song for episode 100 and the recipe for a Florodora. And anyway, it's been a long time. You've kept me entertained for the whole time. Seriously, fantastic work. Keep that crap up for another 10 years.
but then shut it down.
Yeah, that's 48 years old. What's up, everybody?
Hello, everyone.
We'll see. He says, I was wondering about gay characters in games. A couple years back, Dragon Age was heaped with praise for its inclusion of genuinely unapologetic gay characters, both male and female. But I haven't seen a lot of queer main characters, either overtly or subtly in games since, nor has there been much word of them in forthcoming games, AAA or indie. Am I not paying enough attention, or is it just not yet time for leading gay characters? I think it's getting better all the time, but it's a slow process.
Yeah.
If you even think the good work that's being made on this is really only on TV.
Yeah.
Where you got shows transparent, even on Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
And Orange is the New Black.
Yeah.
Even when you look at the movie space, the major mainstream movies, there's very, very little.
Not a lot.
Lesbian representation there.
Or it's just they're defining character, like, oh, that's the gay one.
Yeah.
And it's like that's almost worse than not having one at all.
Yeah. I mean, I want to talk about recent games that have done it well, and I don't know if I can go in spoilers.
Yeah,
This is
be careful.
spoilers. But I mean, The Last of Us had a character very subtly that was gay, that you sort of...
The giraffes.
Yeah, the giraffe. Yeah,
The gay giraffes.
Yeah, but it was done... Naughty Dog handled it really well. It was very subtle. It was only sort of... You just piece it together through some found objects.
I thought that was great.
Yeah, and I thought that was like a really great...
There's
impactful way.
Borderlands does that really well with just NPCs where, I mean, it's the normal, like, hey, I need you to go rescue my husband, but it's just like, a man giving you the mission instead of a woman.
Tales from the Borderlands handled it really well, too.
Yep.
I think in most games are terrible at sex.
Oh, yeah.
Like, most games can't handle sex, period, or relationships. And it's like... I don't want to be like, oh, I think that it all needs to get better, but I think it's a theme. The idea of sex and the idea of relationships are mostly ignored by video games because they're just not great at really telling those stories. Like, sex in games in general is awkward and weird.
Yeah, that would be a good feature, trying to find genuinely erotic content in games.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't even know if
It is actually handled well.
Because
in games.
I mean, Mass Effect is praised for being like very diverse and open-minded about that, but it's still awkward as hell.
Yeah, totally.
Shepard gets in the shower.
Sex in games used to center around, or relationships in games used to center around the idea of the sort of like the princess trope, right? Like, man needs to save the woman.
It was pretty gross.
So man needs to save woman. They kiss at the end. The curtains close. You're like, ooh, I know what they're doing back there. They're having sex. Then they stopped doing a lot of that because that's a crappy trope for storytelling. So now it's basically just like guy has to kill bad guy, and in the meantime he kills a bunch of other bad guys. Maybe there's a bad girl on his side or a bad girl he has to fight, but they never really hook up. There's not really a ton of that stuff in games anymore. So instead of like moving away from one trope, it's all just kind of been completely ignored in general.
Yeah, I mean, I think like recent games that have handled sex or relationships even well, stuff like Gone Home.
Yeah.
Uncharted 4, honestly, like just the quiet moments at home. Like, it wasn't sexual really, but it was just quiet relationship moments that I was like, oh, that's handled very accurately. I think Catherine deals with sex in a way. Like, granted, it's weird anime sheet puzzle game, but it deals with like sex and the idea of pregnancy in a really interesting way that a lot of games don't do.
In terms of like gay characters in games having relationships, I think that we're seeing it more and more with NPCs. But in terms of you taking on the role of playing a gay character and then hooking up with another gay person, because that's how gay people work. I think a lot of people aren't ready for that.
Brian explains gay people.
Yeah. I think a lot of people aren't ready for that, and I am. I think it's great, because to me, video games are escapism, and if I can play a game as a horse or a warrior or an astronaut, I played a game called Snow Horse today, and you can snowboard as a horse.
Yeah.
And that's ridiculous.
That game's really fun.
But video games are escapism, right? And I think if you're okay with being something you're not in a game, then you should be okay with playing as a gay male or a lesbian woman. It's gonna take a while for people to get there.
Yeah, I mean, the reality is most games are still for younger men that probably don't want to. It's a big risk for game makers, to project onto their avatar like, oh, they're gay, so now we're gonna ask the straight players of this game to play as a gay character.
I mean, at least in terms of like the AAA space.
Yeah.
I mean,
Right.
The video game have exploded, and there's like 100 games coming to Steam and iOS every week.
He specifically talked about Dragon Age, which has Dorian, I think is his name. And that's what his whole character is about, and how he's dealing with his family, and he's ostracized from society, and it's not really something that's acceptable where he's from. It's really interesting and well written. But he's not the only gay character in that game, and there's other characters that are just really sexually ambiguous or can be gay or can be straight or just are really open sexually, and like there's a lot of that game runs the gamut from different people's orientations and attitudes towards sex, and they're all, in my opinion, fairly well written. So that's all I want to say is that everyone always focuses on Dorian, but there's other interesting things going on in that game in terms of how those characters are written.
Yeah, so there's two things. My big hope is that Final Fantasy 15, all 4 of those guys are gay, even though the game is sort of about you going to your wedding with a girl. But I think that's going to happen, or at least 2 of the characters are going to be gay. That's an actual prediction. And then if you, on Pokemon Go, if you're like me and chose Team Mystic, all of your characters are gay. So 1/3 of the people playing Pokemon Go are playing as gay characters.
Is that true?
No, I made that up.
Oh, okay.
Probably.
Cool. We're just making up facts. Got it.
That's what we do here.
Change comes slowly.
Yeah.
But I actually wouldn't single out video games for being worse than other mediums. I just think all mediums have a lot of.
But it is
I
it's
think
getting
games are
better.
worse.
I don't know. I think TV and comics are the strongest areas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Right now.
Yeah. Where it doesn't-
comics especially now.
Yeah.
Where it doesn't feel just like shoehorned. It feels like it's something that was written. It was written intelligently,
Yeah.
So there's a long way to go, but we've come so far.
So much better than it was 10 years ago.
Yeah, I mean, even in the '80s, you'd beat a game and it would just a guy who didn't even have a girlfriend the entire time would just like kiss a pixel art girl, and they'd be like, "Well, you did it. That's your reward." I can't imagine like Gears of War now, like Marcus Phoenix is like, "Oh, I hate those things." Anyway, I'm glad I killed them all. And then this guy comes down screen, he's just like, "Come here," and they kiss each other. And that's how I picture him kissing, is making that noise.
What if Gears 1 ended that way?
Yeah.
There was
Dom-
no reference
Him
to
and Dom
anything.
hooking up.
I mean,
That'd be
think
great.
about. Honestly, I would love to see the reception that would have with people,
I would
not
love to
Just a
see
bunch of
Reception of that,
13-year-old
yeah.
boys
Yeah.
drop their controllers on
Or,
the
yeah, at the end of when Chief and Locke, Locke finally finds Chief in Halo 5, they just take their masks off and just do space sex.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
I'm totally fine with that.
Like, there's that weird scene in Boondock Saints when
Oh yeah, Willem Dafoe.
Willem Dafoe is
Yeah.
like, he wakes up next to this guy in bed, and they've clearly just had sex, and he says a bad word to him that he shouldn't. And then they just never address it again. They just go back to the rest of the movie, and I'm like, that's cool. I like knowing that that's just part of his character.
I've never seen Boondock Saints.
Really?
Ooh,
Wow.
that's a Damon
Is it
movie.
really good? Is it really good?
I mean, I liked it 10, 15 years ago. Whenever
Norman
it came out.
Reedus is in it.
Norman Reedus,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yep.
The naked man from the movie.
Durrell from The Walking Dead.
Durrell of Merle Durrell.
Mr. Stranding.
Mr. Strand.
All right, now it's time to play Video Game 20 Questions. Everyone knows how this works. You email us a game suggestion, and my panel has 20 yes or no questions to guess the mystery game. This week's suggestion comes from our friend Carter. Let the questioning
Is it
begin.
grabbed by the ghoulies?
No,
That's not a question.
That's not
No.
a question. Oh,
Do you shoot projectiles in this game?
yikes.
Yes.
All right. Is this before January 1st, 2000?
Yes.
Okay.
Is this a third-person game?
Yes.
Okay.
Do you
Maybe that means it's like
You're a ship.
what?
Maybe you're a ship.
Oh yeah, you might be. Might be a shit.
Do you,
Why'd
See
you
that
guys share
man's
that? Why'd you guys share that moment together?
what do you mean?
What are you talking about?
They had a ship moment. They're shipping.
I'm shipping you two.
I'm
That's
shipping you
that's what
guys.
that term means. Do you specifically shoot guns in this game?
No.
Oh.
Magic could be
Or it could be a ship. Ships
Or a
aren't
ship.
necessarily guns.
Just lasers. Lasers is guns.
lasers aren't guns.
Lasers is guns.
lasers is not guns.
Yes, it is.
No.
Guns shoot lasers.
This came out on my Super Nintendo?
No.
What? Yours?
Marty's Super Nintendo.
Did we figure out if this was a console game or not?
No.
No. Was this game exclusively on consoles?
No.
So it could be arcade or PC. Or handheld, I guess.
It's Gradius or one of those.
Well, ask if you're a ship.
Are you a ship?
No.
So wait, so what you shoot projectiles, but not guns, and you're not a ship.
Well, technically, is Mega Man's Mega Blaster a gun? Sub
Yeah.
question, that's not one of the questions. Would you consider Mega Man's Mega Blaster to be a gun?
Yes, it's a
Yes.
gun.
Okay.
I wouldn't consider that a gun.
It's a cannon.
I mean, his thing on
a
the
cannon
first...
is a kind of gun.
but
Right?
not all guns are cannons. F.
You might want to narrow down decade again.
Yeah.
We only know
Or
before 2000.
Yeah, I mean, was this a 90s game? Was this originally released in the 90s?
No.
Oh, this is an 80s game.
Or
Actually,
it
we
could be
never
a 40s
really had,
game.
we never had like a 70s game.
No, we did once. We had like Centipede or something.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
How'd you guys do?
Well, Sam was on.
We're
great.
not firing guns?
Perfect.
Or we are firing guns?
We're firing projectiles, but not guns.
And it's well, it's not third person. It's
So
just, that's
Space
what games
Invaders or anything from the 80s.
Isn't that a gun?
Oh, but you're a ship.
were. Yeah, you're not. Stop.
No. Do we know that we're a ship? Well, we're not a ship.
We're not
Not
a
a
ship.
ship.
Get
so
your
it's not-
minds out of the ship. We're not in a ship. We're a man or a person or like a snake dude or whatever.
Technically,
walking around.
doesn't Mario fire projectiles?
Yeah.
Yeah. He throws fire. There's guns in that game. Those bullet bills.
But we know. Okay.
But it was not a console exclusive.
So is this a
No, it's not.
is this an NES game?
Are you asking if this game appeared on the NES?
Yeah.
Yes.
But it's also probably an arcade game.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, Mario was an arcade game also. But I feel like if you're going to write in a video game 20 questions 3 years after we've been doing this and you do Super Mario Brothers, there's something wrong with
But
that.
it's not.
Or you're
it wouldn't
brilliant.
be Super Mario Brothers. It would just be Mario Brothers.
No,
Why? That's the
there was
arcade
Super
one.
Mario arcade games. Like,
No, but it was just called Mario Brothers. The
No, there was-
two-player arcade game.
no, there was a
you
Super
could play
Mario-
Super Mario Brothers
Yeah.
in an arcade
The
cabinet.
original
Mario
SMB.
Brothers was in arcades before it was in your
I
home.
played it in an arcade here in San Francisco
Oh.
at Brewcade.
I don't think I ever knew that. Maybe
Yeah.
I did know that.
There's also something called the Play Choice 10, which was basically an arcade
That I've seen.
plug NES carts into.
Yeah, that's so
Was
bizarre.
this,
Yeah.
was this is whoever developed this game still making games?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Definitely not Mario.
Wow, that's a good question.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm
So I
seeing
narrowed. Okay, yeah.
That's 10.
Oh, yikes.
I mean, but 80s arcade games. I don't know. Is this from a? Sorry, go ahead. I don't think it's my turn. I don't. That doesn't matter.
No, there's no turns.
Is this? It must be 2D. Is this played from a side-scrolling perspective?
Yes.
I wonder if it's Wizards and Warriors.
Hey, what about those? Yeah, I'm thinking about other games where you shoot magic.
Do you
Yeah,
shoot
Gauntlet.
magic?
That's the question. Do you shoot magic?
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess so.
Like shoot at magic
I
or
mean,
shoot
no.
magic out of your
Are you
hands?
shooting magic out of you?
Well, okay then. Like, what do you describe this magic? What do you mean?
Like, I mean, in theory, Mario shoots magic. out of his hand.
Some sort of fireball or lightning.
Is what you're
bolt
shooting
or-
sort of elemental?
Yes.
But it could be just like.
But it's not so.
electricity.
And wait, it was 2D,
Yes.
And it was a side-scrolling.
side-scrolling
it's
2D
side-scrolling,
specifically.
yeah.
So it's not
I'm
Gauntlet.
not feeling good about this one right
I'm
now.
feeling great, dude.
I don't think we're even coming close.
It's not Gauntlet,
How many questions are we in? 11?
but it could be
12.
something like
12?
Yeah.
It could be something like
No, because
we're
actually
doing
the
great.
people who make Gauntlet are still making games, but Gauntlet's not a side-scrolling game.
I know, that's
Or
what I mean.
actually it was, right?
No,
top
I
down.
mean it's top down.
Wasn't there a side-scrolling Gauntlet game?
No one
No,
knows.
you make that up.
Probably. Or Golden Axe. That was Golden Axe. No one knows.
It's a side-scrolling game from before 1990 where you're not a ship, but you shoot things, elemental things.
And it was in arcades, and we don't know if the
But it was also on an
if the
NES.
people who
And
made
NES.
it are still making games.
They're not.
They're not. They're not making.
90% sure
'cause
they're
they
not.
peaked at elemental dude who ain't a ship. For
Ain't a ship?
For NES and arcades, and they were like, "We're not making any more games." That's it.
Oh man.
Like you throw things in Wonder Boy, but they're not elemental.
They made a Wonder Boy like 5 years ago.
Could
They're
this,
making a
10.
new one now.
could this
making
be a
one right
little?
now.
Could this be a little Nemo? Are you a dream?
That's
master?
Capcom. Capcom made that game.
Oh dang. Is Capcom still around?
I mean, well,
Konami.
Wow.
you know, Konami,
Do you play as a human?
Yes.
really? That's interesting.
What
What's
are-
that man trying to do out there?
What's he doing? Shoot this weird lightning bolt?
Are there games where you're a wizard?
Yeah.
So what are wizard games from the 80s?
Wait, we don't know if you're a wizard.
I want to find
but
out what
you
you're
shoot-
fighting, or if there's a lot of platforming.
I don't think there's time for that.
What do you
Okay, let me
fighting?
ask you guys: does anyone have any sort of visual in their heads right now of what this might be?
No.
I'm picturing like a weird man walking down a hallway and shooting
Yeah, me too.
lightning
That's like
bolts at
every
people.
video game.
Yeah.
All right, let's figure out the setting. I don't want to burn a question.
Are you
So like, I want to figure out if this is like if it's like a fantasy game, a sci-fi game, is Wild West. If this dude was walking around taking out the Wild West people with magic powers.
I mean, I think we can probably safely assume it's fantasy,
Okay.
but I don't know.
Oh, I didn't know we knew all the answers all of a sudden. All right.
All right. I don't have any games.
Is it fantasy?
Yeah.
Why'd you ask that dumbass question?
Because you guys weren't doing anything. You were being all wishy-washy.
How many questions
yeah.
is that? 14?
104.
You're on.
We're not going to get this. This is really bad.
I don't have any picture in my head.
Oh, it's a
No,
multiplayer.
I mean,
The multiplayer.
The most basic sense of multiplayer, yes.
Like where one person plays and then he dies and the other person has to play.
Oh,
Yeah.
all right.
You know, we might be. I'm picturing like late '80s, but it could be some crazy like '70s.
No, but it was also on NES.
We're at 15.
It was on NES.
Do you use Magic in Adventure Island? Could this be Adventure Island?
No, that's Hudson Soft. They don't make anything anymore, do they?
No, they're not around.
No.
I said
No, you don't
Adventure
use
Island,
magic in
and I
Adventure
tried to.
Island. You use a boomerang and a skateboard. I was thinking bad dudes. Maybe if badness or dudeness was magical.
There is that boss that was on fire, right?
Yeah,
Did
that's
I make
true.
that up? Is there a flaming boss in that game?
Yeah, man, whatever. Maybe.
Do you fight a plane? I think at one
What?
point. Don't you fight an airplane?
Helicopter, I think, maybe.
Helicopter?
I feel like I'm pretty sure this game's Adventure Island.
No, it's not Adventure Island.
I think it's Little Nemo and the Dream Masters.
What the? What side-scrolling?
Side-scrolling game from before 1990,
Yeah.
where you're not a ship.
Do we know this game, or are you trying to trick us? That
You-
wasn't a question.
You definitely know this.
Ah, dang.
I definitely know
You shoot
this.
elemental
Okay,
projectiles.
guys.
Kid Icarus? No, there's something.
What if it's literally a shirt?
No, it's Capcom. Capcom makes
Yo,
Ghosts and Goblins.
that'd have been really good. I
know,
Also,
that
if we
would've-
would have got it wrong, I would have.
Kaiser Soze. This is killing me.
Yeah, this is
I'm
not
going
great.
nuts on this
not
one.
Not great.
I wish Jared was here. Can we call him
know.
for like one?
Yeah.
you need
Is this
phone on Jared.
is this game part of a series?
No.
Okay, it's a one-off.
Wow. Well, that eliminates like Adventure Island and stuff like
Oh,
that.
dang. It could be Little Nemo still.
It's not Little Nemo.
There was only one Little Nemo game.
Stop saying Little Nemo. That's
feel
made
like-
by Capcom.
We're missing some obvious with the right
Really Little
with the
Nemo.
right question. I feel like we would be back on the right track.
We don't have a lot of right questions left.
You're dancing around it.
Yeah.
Oh, there's dancing in this game.
Moonwalker.
You'd shoot fireballs in Gold Bull 13.
No, don't you kill a Hitler in that game?
Sure.
Then the weird buttons are swapped.
Yep.
Literally just trying to picture.
I'm just thinking of. No, it's not working.
Do you mind if I go do another one?
Yeah.
Yell me. Is this attached to an entertainment property? Like, is this based on a movie or a book or a show?
No.
A
No.
song?
No.
No, this is just these guys made an
poem.
original game and then never did it again. Oh, man.
Fingertip
And
Blade.
there's never was a sequel. And they stopped making games afterwards. This killed them. This game
Or it was so good that they were just.
this game killed them like it's killing us. How many questions is that?
17. You have
Yeah.
3 left.
You play as a human? Did we already ask that?
Yes.
don't do that.
I'm just wondering.
You asked the Genesis thing twice in the last one with the
We still got it right. We still got the Mean Bean Machine.
Do you? I don't know. I want to narrow down like how. I'm just trying to. I want to get a picture in my head of how this game looks and plays.
Yeah, I can't picture it. I mean, it's pixel art.
Yeah.
It's side-scrolling.
There's projectiles.
Yeah,
where
projectiles.
Magic.
It's fantasy.
You're throwing magic around.
You're throwing elemental magic, which means you've got maybe like a wind,
Right, it's like how many games from that time
ice.
are you describing?
I don't know, man. One apparently.
Captain Planet.
Was that a game?
There's a
That
Captain
was
Planet
based
game
on
for
a-
NES.
It's based on a property.
Damn it.
I want to give up.
You just give up?
No, what kind of a man is
Give up
shooting?
at 17.
Oh, what kind of a man shoots fire and wind and electricity?
Wizards.
Wizards definitely do that.
Yeah, but it's not Wizards
Wait.
and Warriors. Because they made like 4 of those. And they kept getting worse.
Wizards and warriors.
All right, we got 3 questions left.
Guys, we gotta-
If we're not going to get there, we just got to bring it home. Just
Okay.
throw some questions out.
Do you fight? Humans? Are those the things you fight? Men.
You may, I mean,
I love Damon's
may,
face turn.
Castlevania.
you probably,
No,
at some point,
also, there's many games in that
Hold
series.
on. I want to get the answer to this question.
at some point over the course of this game, you probably fight a human.
Okay, so
But
there's a guy
primarily-
in there somewhere like, look what I did. I made this. How has this been for you? Difficult? Don't worry, we'll never make another one. This will be the last of your wars. All right. Oh, damn it. I hate this. Is it Karnov?
Yes.
Yes!
Yes, it's totally Karnov. Yeah.
Yes!
Right?
Where did that come from? I don't know. Oh my god, I was just thinking about the guy in Karnov would talk.
From the 80s, where he plays a guy with shoots projectiles but not a gun.
Oh!
It's fantasy.
Oh my god, I'm so happy right now.
The company Data Ace is not in business anymore.
What a day!
Started in arcades, came to NES, 2 players alternating.
Nobody made no Karnov 2. There's totally, he shoots some shit out of his hand.
Blows fire.
Yeah,
Holy
Fireballs.
he does blow fireballs.
That was really impressive.
Wow! What was that, 19? 18,
Yeah, that was
19?
the 19th question.
Buzzer beater.
Yeah.
Another NES game.
Beat a bird to death.
Oh my god.
Karnov, yeah.
Wow.
That's it.
High energy. I'm gonna run through a wall out of the studio. I feel really good about that. Was Karnov ever one of the ones on this? No? Are we tracking these?
There is tracking. I don't think we've done
There is
Karnov before.
Holy shit.
Yeah, no, there's an IGN wiki tracking.
Oh, nice.
all
Oh my
the-
god.
That's where we found out where we did Alan Wake twice, and no one noticed. And we missed it both times.
Karnov, who wrote that in?
Carter.
Carter, nice work, Carter.
Yeah.
Carter Karnov.
Man, you kind of go right against the ropes there.
I was thinking about giving you a hint that even though there was only one Karnov game, the character did
Yeah,
appear
yeah.
in other games.
I never would have remembered that.
He's a bad guy and he's a boss in Bad Dudes.
I get Karnov,
Karnov?
and a Bobo
Yeah.
mixed up.
Oh, yeah.
Well, they're basically the same guy.
Karnov's a boss in Bad Dudes?
Yeah.
You didn't
So
know
he just comes from Egypt or whatever.
Wait,
He's like, I'm
that's,
over
the
here.
guy, that's the boss I was thinking of.
I thought you might.
You were thinking of Karnov from Bad Dudes?
Yeah, where I said, isn't there a guy on fire in that game? Because he spits fire.
Now, hold on. Is Karnov the name of the dude or the name of the town?
It's the dude.
It's the dude.
Yeah, and he was kind of like the mascot of Dead East.
Yeah, that worked.
It's the worst.
Hence, Dead East not being in
Yeah.
business anymore.
They did not.
They went data south after that game.
Karnov gonna make me more.
That was really good.
There you go. Nicely done. Thank you
guys.
for the good suggestion, Carter.
Really good.
That's all the scoops we have for this week. Remember, you can always reach us at the email address gamescoop@ign.com. Make sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel, youtube.com/gamescoop. Thank you, Justin. Thank you, Marty. Thank you, Brian. My name is Damon. This is IGN Gamescoop, and we're out.